Accreditation revoked status is required by statute. After 4 years in a row of being improvement required, state law requires an accreditation revoked status be awarded. That was done for the first time in Marlin in 2015-16 school year, and then the exact same process happened last year in 2016-17, and we're at that status again. So what happens is, like we did the previous 2 years, you put in for an informal review. The state looks at your data, sees if you're making improvement, and as I'm told they'll do for the last 2 years, you're making improvements, you'll get another extension.
Okay, so pretty much we've been getting this letter since, say 2015?
15, 16. I'm sure you all remember the big community meeting.
Right.
That was the same process. It was the same type of letter, same process. And what kind of surprises me is we got about the same time last year, we got the same kind of letter from TEA about accreditation status, and it wasn't newsworthy last year. I mean, I had no news cameras here, no newspapers here, but for some reason this year it's newsworthy again. So I don't know what's newsworthy and what's not, but apparently this year. But there's nothing new. I mean, we knew about this status in the summer of 2017. So it was a surprise to no one in the Scott School District. It was, a surprise to no one at TEA. And the fact that the news media was all of a sudden surprised about it and conflated the thing, it kind of surprises me.
What is the usual process that occurs for a district to appeal?
You just have to write a letter requesting an informal review, and they'll want data showing improvement. And the first year we went down and did a presentation of data. This commissioner is a little different. I called Deputy Commissioner A.J. Crable and said, hey, we can send the data. Do you guys need us to come down there and go over it? Or are you good? He says, we're good. As long as you send your data in, we're good with it. He said, we already know you improve. We know what your data is already. So he said, but we need you guys to put it together and send it in and request an informal review. That's the process described in law. So TEA is going by the law, and they don't want to skip any steps.
So is that the reason why we decided not to go down to Austin to appear for the review or the appeal?
Frankly, the deputy commissioner told me a week ago Sunday, the decision's already made. But I was telling him, we're going to get the abatement agreement. He says, oh, you coming down here is not going to make one bit of difference. I said, well, if that's the case, then I don't see any point in coming down there. So.
What has Marlin ISD been doing to make gains in academic success and state accountability?
Yeah, do the only thing you can do, and that's improve instruction in the classroom and then verify kids are learning. And we started that process in 2015-16. Another big piece of the puzzle was finding and retaining the best quality teachers that you could possibly find. And that took a couple of years to get done because of contract laws, things work. Teachers are entitled to 1 year of employment, basically, as everyone knows. So it took a couple of years to get a good quality faculty on all three campuses. I can say with confidence now that all three campuses have what I call a critical mass of high quality teachers and high quality instruction going on every day. And so it looks pretty good on those campuses there.
For those who say, well, they increased the teacher pay rate and things still aren't getting any better, what do you say to that?
We increased the first year that we had the pay rate to work with was last year, and we had some pretty significant gains. The high school earned a distinction in mathematics. The middle school would have had a distinction in mathematics. It scored in the top 25% of its comparison group, but the reading scores were a little too low still, so we didn't get a distinction in math. You have to basically meet standard all the way around. The elementary school actually made an index on accountability last year. So there were some huge gains made last year, enough that the state, called the board president and said, we're real proud of what you guys, did this year. It was impressive results. So we did get results, but it's going to take more than 1 year, mostly because the critical gap has been at the elementary campus, particularly pre-K through second grade. And this is the first year that I can say that we've had pretty much a 100% quality instruction in every classroom, pre-K through 2. In fact, pre-K through fourth grade on that campus. It's really good instruction right now.
what type of gains are we seeing? What are they significant gains? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I can tell you, like, for example, I want to say 8th grade math last year had 84% passing. And when the state standard to pass is 60%, that's pretty awesome, especially when the year before they were scoring maybe 40%. So you're seeing in some areas huge jumps, meeting standards in areas where we've never met standards before in recent history. So I'm telling you that when I say they're significant enough that we're getting another extension from TEA, and they're not handing those out lightly. I mean, if you're not showing progress, they're taking other steps.
For those who may say, well, it seems like you're being nonchalant about the situation, or doesn't seem like you're taking the situation serious enough, how do you answer that?
I guess because it's no surprise to me. Like I say, we've known since July what the STAR scores were. And this is all based on STAR scores. So we knew in July what the STAR scores were going to be and what the accountability rating would be. And we knew what that meant. We went through this exact same process, the exact same time last year, and not one camera from Waco came over here. And this year, it's 4 cameras from Waco come over here. So I don't understand why it wasn't news last year and it is news this year, because we have got the exact same kind of letter last year as we got this year. But for some reason, this year is different. That, and I stay in pretty close contact with TEA. We have a board of managers appointed by TEA. And so there's the only 2 people I really talk to at TEA are the commissioner and the deputy commissioner. And so if they're not happy with what's going on in Marlin, trust me, I know pretty fast. And right now, I mean, with the governance situation we have, what we have going on in the classroom, they're wanting to see if we give the process some time to work.
How will you continue to make strides and gains in the future?
The only thing you do is keep concentrating on high quality instruction in the classroom. For too many years, particularly in pre-K, K1 and 2, if you don't have high quality instruction there, you're getting kids in 3rd grade who can't read maybe on the 1st grade level, and you got a problem. And you got a problem that'll take you years to overcome. So the big key to this is getting down into that pre-K, K, 1st and 2nd grade, like we finally do have, and make sure there's quality instruction going on there every day. It's got to be very targeted. We spent almost $500,000 over 2 years training teachers on a very targeted method of teaching reading. So some of these kids are getting, a lot of these kids are getting 3 hours of reading instruction a day. And it's not just me reading a book to you. It's you spend 10 minutes doing this, you spend 15 minutes doing that. I mean, it's a very regimented method of teaching and reading that's developed by researchers, and we stick with it pretty awesome. And you want to look at our 4th grade. Every 3 weeks we give tests, and our 4th grade's knocking it out the roof this year, mostly because they had good 3rd grade instruction last year, and they're getting good instruction this year. Our 3rd graders, they're doing well, but they're not as well as 3rd grade because, as I just said, this is the first year I can say that we've had excellent pre-K, K1 and 2 instruction in every classroom.
If you had any reassuring words to offer to the community, what would they be at this time?
Have faith in in your students and the teachers. I mean, they're doing a lot better. And you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, if you want to come to the data presentation at the school board meetings, we have a TEA professional service provider who comes into our campuses, weekly. And she's reported to the board, and she's correct, that elementary school, you won't find any better instruction than any elementary school in the state of Texas. Go up there and visit the campuses and see. You're not going to find a bunch of coloring. You're not going to find a bunch of kids sitting around doing nothing. You're going to find your kids with engaging instruction, working in pretty much every classroom, every day, all the time. I know that the deputy commissioner knows that this, in his training, when he trained our school board, was this can be a five-year plus process. And so they understand you set reasonable goals, and their standard is, are you meeting 70 to 80% of your goals a year? And they don't even expect you to make 100% of your goals, but as long as you're making a good percentage of your goals and making progress, they're going to stick with you. I would also tell the people of Marlin, we have 2 people on the board of managers who both worked for TEA, who were both retired educators. They know what the quality of instruction looks like in these buildings, and they know where we stand with TEA. So it's not just me making this up. We have an excellent school board with an excellent team, And we're doing everything that we know how to do to make this a better place for kids and to have better instruction. So I don't, if I seem nonchalant, it's because I'm doing everything I can do. I'm staying in contact with TEA. I'm not surprised. I'm just surprised everybody else is surprised. I think things are getting better for Marlin. We just got to keep positive and don't tear our community down, especially on Facebook. The social media stuff, we get into a frenzy and maybe 10% of it's true. And so, we don't worry about the 90% that's not true. We just get on the 10% that, we don't worry about the 10% that is true. We go on the 90% that's not true, and we turn it into facts without ever checking into it. And that, to me, there's a handful of people that do that, but it's destructive to the community, destructive to the school district.